You got challenges that you're going to run across.
I charged a college $250 to allow me to speak at their graduation for 15 minutes. And to me, I was tickled pink. Hey, look, this is my first paid speaking engagement. And I got $250 for something I've been doing for free. I love it. Well, I quickly learned that I was vastly undercharging. But again, that's what I mean when I say you got to get out there. You got to put yourself in an uncomfortable situation. And once you get out there, you'll figure it out. It's kind of like sink or swim. You jump off in that water, you better learn how to swim.
What do you say to a person that's listening and watching you and say, well, Larry, you just got it. I don't have it. I don't know if I should jump out there. I did a video and it was 2 people that liked it, my mama and me. And so nobody else commented on the video. I did another one. I didn't get any response. So am I that person that needs to get out there and really try? Or, I don't know. What do you say to a person like that who really wants to, but they're already prejudging what's going on just by the little response or no response on social media?
Yeah, I tell people work the process, and that's part of the process. Anybody who's great at something most likely didn't start out that way. You take these young men, young women that play professional sports. When they first started, when they were 7 and 8 years old, they weren't the superstars that they are now. It took work, it took talent, and they had to grow through the levels. You start with the Pee Wee League. Next thing you know, you're going to elementary and middle school. And then from middle school, you go to high school. High school, you're going to college, and then on to the pros. It's a process. You have to work the process, and you get better when you take those bumps and bruises without all the people seeing it. It can be really tough if you're in a room full of people and nobody's pulling for you, no one's clapping for you, and you bomb, you fail. But it's easier to recover when you're in a room full of 3 people or 4 people, and you take that stage and you figure it out. You say, well, that joke didn't go so well, but it's okay. Only 3 people heard it. They're not going to go out and spread the gospel that I was horrible. You keep working the process. And Eminem, the rapper, he talks about that. He says, nobody remembers when I was in the nightclubs doing 5 people shows. He says, but I did them. And now I can sell out arenas. So I think it's no different from the process that we must follow. We need to build our confidence. You're talking about the elite psyche, mental toughness mindset. It starts with getting out there, starting a process, failing at it, learning from your mistakes, and trying again. And each and every time you get a little better and you add pieces to the recipe that's going to make it a little bit better. And you do it enough times, you get pretty solid at it. You build that confidence up. And then when you get that confidence, it's not too many things you can't accomplish.
I hope people are listening, because what you just went through was mental toughness. You realized that you had to go through that process to get it right. And a lot of people don't want to mentally go through this. Well, somebody might have laughed at me, or somebody didn't like my stuff, and they don't go through it. And the people who win in life, I have to say, I understand you got to have belief. I understand you got to have, a lot of things going for you, but I still believe that the main thing is that toughness to keep going through an adversity. Because for some reason, people think that folks who are successful didn't go through challenges. It's almost like, because, if you're a social media person, you go on Instagram, you don't see no challenges. All you see is the highlights of your success and all this other stuff out here. And so people assume that they don't have that. And, for me, books that I read have really helped me to understand that everybody goes through this. I always say that the struggle is guaranteed, but success is not. So you're going to have to go through that struggle. Now, whether you become successful or not depends on your mental toughness. And it just oozed out of you just then when you start talking. And a lot of times people don't know that, because you don't talk about your challenges. I'm sure if you talk to people and they ask you questions like that, everybody. I remember listening to Usher, and he talked about when they first got started, his mother and father, they rented a van, and they would go through all these little small towns in Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, and go to all these little clubs and just do, and they would bomb out, but they would go. They would just get in that van and go. He talks about it to this day that that's what made him, was that, and he had people behind him that was pushing him saying, okay, this is just the process, man. You can't let one club or one little thing stop you. And I hope that these interviews that we're doing and having people like you on, that folks can understand that's what this whole thing is about, is that you got to keep pushing. You got to keep going, because I'm sure, give me one of your episodes or one of your places that you spoke that really kind of knocked the wind out of you for a minute, and then you had to recover.
You know, I went to a place, I'll never forget this, and it was about 300 people in the room. One of the people was a sales director, the other was a vice president. And the director, right after I finished speaking, you got to remember, I was a young man at this point because I started my business as a young age too. And guy said, look, why should we listen to you? What do you have that's going to inspire us to become better, to become great? And it was a fair question, but it wasn't one that I was really prepared for at that young stage of my career. And then I didn't want you knocking me down in front of all these people that I just spoke to, right? So that question was kind of like one of those, hey, I'm going to put you in your place type of deals. And because he had a high level within his own company, people looked up to him. So he was already the big boss in charge. And I said, you know what? And this is like 2007, 2006. My response was, what do I bring to the table? I said, I bring value. I bring value in how you can become better, how you can improve. And I said, and I'll tell you how. I said, one, your company thought I was good enough to come in and speak to your team. So therefore, somebody believed in me. I said, but then secondly, somebody in this room probably thinks that a six-figure income is great money, and that's what they need to live comfortably. I said, I can tell you that for me, that's only 6,662 books sold each year, and I'm well over that. And I think what happened was it broke the room down in a way that says this young person has found a way to get it done in a non-conventional way. And he's not looking for the blessings from you, Mr. Sales Director, or you, Mr. Vice President. You might be the king of this castle, but in mine, you're not.
Right. Because I leave out of here, I'm good.
I'm good.
Yeah. I'll tell you a story, man. Make sure that you like and subscribe and hit the all button and all that kind of stuff, because we're going to have a lot of good interviews on this podcast.